All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Cam Newton is flapping his gums again. We'll talk about it, of course, coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find. Go get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And this video is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code KRUEG, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. All right, let's talk about Cam Newton again. Man, Cam Newton just can't shut his mouth. This time he's saying Brock Purdy is the 10th best player on the 49ers. Whatever. I mean, seriously, whatever. Because I never said Brock Purdy was trash, but he's a game manager. It's like, and to be a game changer, you have to be the best player on your team, and he's not. CMC is the best player on his team. And, he's the best player on the offensive side of the ball. He goes, I ain't recanting shit. All right, well, here we go. Our buddy Raj put it out there. Here you go. You can hear it. You can hear the brilliance of Cam Newton in his own words. Here you go. Little Cam.
I've never said that Brock Purdy was trash. What I did say is Brock Purdy is a game manager. That's not hate. That's just what I feel to be facts. But I still reserve the right to say this. To be labeled a game changer, Brock Purdy has to be the best player on the offensive side of the ball. And that's not the case.
And who's the best player?
Christian McCaffrey. Man, look, I ain't recanting shit. No. And if you really want to just be honest, if you add in the defensive talent and you add in the offensive talent, Brock Purdy is the 10th best player on his team. Okay, cool. Did he have a great game? Yes. Is he been playing out of his mind? Yes. Is he a quarterback that's hot? Yes. But he's still the 10th best player on his team.
All right, there you go. That was Cam Newton talking about how Brock Purdy is the 10th best player on the Niners. At the end of the day, who cares? Who cares? He's in the MVP conversation. He's a second-year player. He's 21-5. I mean, come on, Cam. Yeah, you're right. He's not the best player on the offense, but CMC isn't either. It's Trent Williams. Trent Williams is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's for sure the best player on the 49ers offense. But I would say CMC is second, and I would probably put Purdy third ahead of Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. There's no question it's a talented offense. But why the need to keep putting down Brock Purdy when all the kid's done is win? What other second-year quarterback is doing what he's doing? And then I got to ask the question, I mean, Cam makes it seem, I'm sure Cam considers himself a game changer and not a game manager. Was Cam the best player in the greatest year of his career when he won the MVP? He was good that year, but was he the best player on his team? Isn't Luke Kuechly going to the Hall of Fame? Cam Newton's not going to the Hall of Fame, but Luke Kuechly probably is. Greg Olsen maybe has an outside shot at the Hall of Fame. He probably had a better career than Cam. Charles Peanut Tillman was on that team. Didn't he have a better career than Cam? Isn't Cam Newton the guy that had one good year and kind of washed out of the league at 28? Why is he talking so much S? Cam Newton is a career 59.9% completion guy. Brock Purdy completes 67, 68% of his passes. He's not even in the Brock Purdy neighborhood. Brock Purdy's 21-5. Cam Newton was 75-68-1 career record. He's just a handful of games over 500. So, I mean, Cam Newton threw 123 career interceptions. He had an 85.2 quarterback rating, nowhere close to Brock Purdy. Nowhere close. Cam played his entire career and won 3 playoff games. Brock Purdy's played 2 years and has 4 playoff wins. Brock Purdy has more playoff wins in his first 2 years in the league than Cam Newton had in his entire career. So, I mean, not to mention, Brock Purdy's 4-1 in the playoffs. Cam Newton had a losing record in the playoffs, 3-4. So, at the end of the day, Cam, I don't know. I guess you just, anytime you talk about Brock Purdy, it gets Niner fans, Niner media, and Niner everything fired up, and you put yourself out there. Suddenly you're, more relevant and this and that. And obviously the fact that he named all of the Fox and ESPN, talent hiring executives, we know what his goal is. His goal is to get on TV and make some of those greenbacks, make some of that money that he ain't making now. And the only way to do it is to just flap your gums and talk a big game. But these drive-bys on Brock Purdy, when everybody else is like, wow, look how impressive this kid is. This kid was the last pick in the draft, and he's 21-5 and 4-1 in the playoffs and 4-0 in playoff games that he started and finished. And he's 24, and he's got some of the best stats of any quarterback in all of the NFL, including Josh Allen, including Mahomes, including Prescott, including Hurts, including Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, or anybody, Joe Burrow, anybody you want to throw out there. Brock Purdy had as good a numbers as any of them. But you're just going to be like, he's a game manager. Alex Smith, who really was a game manager, says that's foolish. He's not a game manager. He's far more than that. What is a game manager? Can Cam even define it? Because Brock Purdy is not one of these guys that just dumps it off. I mean, there were so many wrong takes about Brock Purdy all year. Like Brock Purdy just drops it little 5-yard passes in the flat to Debo, and Debo runs 85 yards, and everybody's like, Brock did it. Brock consistently drives the ball down the field. His yards per attempt was the best in the league. His completion percentage was near the best in the league. Just those two things alone show that he's not some game manager. This guy's got the best yards per attempt in the NFL and as good a completion percentage as almost anybody in the league as well. So he's completing the highest percentage of his passes while driving the ball further down the field than any other quarterback. But he's a game manager. And you're not defining game manager. And other than to say, if you're a game manager, that means that you're not a game changer. And to be a game changer, you've got to be the best player on your offense. And I guarantee you, if we went right down the list of the guys that he would consider game changers, I bet you there's a couple guys on each one of those offenses that's probably as good at their position as these quarterbacks that are game changers are at theirs. Tyreek Hill was in the MVP discussion this year. Mahomes wasn't. So was Mahomes not a game changer when he wasn't the best player on his offense? Joe Burrow's a great player, but Jamar Chase is freaking awesome. I would say Jamar Chase is probably a better wide receiver or a higher rated wide receiver against all the other guys in the league than Burrow is today against all the other quarterbacks. But he's not going to say that about Burrow. The bottom line is Brock Purdy just needs to win this next game. Win this next game and shut all these guys up. It's just as simple as that. Cam Newton's flapping his gums for cash. I mean, that's really it. He's talking big because he knows the Niners are the story, and to be relevant, you got to talk about the story. And then if you're going to talk about the story, you got to talk about the quarterback. And so he's just going to double. I ain't recanting shit. What you really meant to say is I ain't shit, because 59.9% completion percentage in one good year and being bounced out of the league at age 28 and having fewer playoff wins in your entire NFL career than Brock has in his first 2 years not to mention a lower quarterback rating, a worse touchdown to interception ratio, a worse winning percentage, a lower completion percentage, and nobody does it by themselves. Nobody does it by themselves. That's for sure. Technically, if you want to say that a game manager is anybody who's a quarterback on a team where they're not the best player on their offense, then that means that Joe Montana might have been a game manager, because Joe Montana is the second best quarterback that ever played. He's not number one. He's probably number two. But Jerry Rice, we played with, was the best wide receiver of all time. So Jerry's the greatest wide receiver of all time. Was Joe a game manager when he played with Jerry? I mean, by Cam's definition, he was. CMC is the best player on this. He doesn't even know the Niners well enough to know that it's Trent Williams who's the hands down best player on the team. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of Cam's craziness, but just ask yourself that. The years that Joe played with Rice, and Joe was among the best quarterbacks of all time, but Rice is considered the best receiver of all time. Wasn't Rice the guy? Would Cam have had the balls to say, you know what? Joe Montana's not a game changer. Joe Montana's a game manager. Rice is the best player on that offense. Who would disagree with that? Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver that ever played. He may be the greatest football player when you look at where he ranks against other wide receivers compared to where other guys rank against other running backs, quarterbacks, defensive ends. You could argue Jerry was the greatest Niner some of those years. Does that mean that Steve Young and Joe Montana were game managers? By Cam's definition, it does. But once again, Cam's a bitter guy who got bounced out of the league at 28, 29, was terrible with the Patriots at the end, is a career 59.9% career completion percentage guy. Cam Newton is no different than Joe Flacco, except Flacco's got a ring. Flacco had one awesome year, but got a ring. Cam Newton had one awesome year and then made a business decision not to fall on the fumble at his feet at Levi's against Denver. In his moment, he shrunk up. He shrunk. The guy won 3 playoff games in his entire career. He's ripping a 24-year-old quarterback that already has more playoff wins. Check yourself, Cam. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.